Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at adding and subtracting fractions, making sure we're good with that concept. And so this is from CPM's, and I'm taking this problem specifically from course 3, and this is section 6.2.3 and number 6-74. So this is negative 2 3/10 minus 1 2/5. And I know the type is off there, but it should be negative 2 as a mixed number, negative 2 3/10 and 1 2/5, right? So that's two mixed numbers. So so that's minus. So the first of all, in order to do these, we've got to have a common denominator if we're subtracting fractions. So I know I have a denominator of 10 here and a denominator of 5 there. So my common denominator, my least common multiple, would be 10, right? So I'm going to leave this negative 2 3/10 and then minus 1. And well, changing that to something over 10 would just be multiplying top and bottom, in this case by 2, right? The giant 1, you multiply by a giant 1 because 2 over 2 is just 1. So you're not changing the value. You're just changing the form of what we have. Instead of 2/5, now it's 4/10, right? So 4/10 is the same as 2/5. And I just do that by multiplying by a giant 1, in this case 2 over 2. And so now I'm looking at my fractions, and now my mixed numbers have a common denominator. And when you're subtracting, remember, subtracting a fraction, right? I'm having a negative minus a positive, right? When you do that, you're taking that negative number, and subtraction on a number line is going that direction. Subtracting a positive is going, so it's going to get more negative. Or the other way of looking at it is to, instead of minus, we take it and we say add the opposite, right? So it's really a negative 2 3/10 plus negative 1 4/10. So I'm going to add the two negative numbers, and I add my whole numbers first, and I get, I'll put my answer here, negative 3 when I add the whole numbers. Negative 2, negative 1 is negative 3. And then add the fractions, and I have 3/10, 4/10 added together is 7/10. So it's negative 3 7/10. Okay, that's A. B, in this case, it's division here, division of a fraction. So I'm going to rewrite. This is 3 divided by negative 5/4. All right, 3 divided by negative 5/4. So when you're dividing by a fraction, remember, division of fractions is multiplying by the reciprocal, right? Division of fractions is multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is the flip-flop of this fraction. So I'm going to rewrite this. It's actually 3 times negative 4/5. So reciprocal is flipping the denominator and the numerator, changing places. That's what division of a fraction is. So when we multiply, remember, multiplying fractions, we put the whole number over 1, and then we can just multiply straight across. So that's 3 over 1 times negative 4/5. And multiplying that, when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. So 3 times the 4 is 12. 1 times 5 is 5. And don't forget, I had a positive. That's a positive 3 times a negative, or divided by a negative. Either way you're looking at it, you're going to say that's going to be a negative. So the answer is negative 12/5. Okay. This one here looks like addition. So with addition, we need to have a common denominator. I have an 8 for this denominator, a 4 for this one. So my least common multiple would be an 8. So I'm going to change this to have it as an 8 in the denominator. So again, multiplying this time by the giant 1 of 2 over 2, because 4 times 2 is 8, so 3 times 2 is 6. So 3/4 is 6/8. So it's 6/8 plus 5 7/8. So this one, first of all, when we look, there is no whole number here, right? It's not a mixed number, it's just a single fraction. So it's 0. So it's really nothing as a whole number, plus 5 gives you 5. So I'm going to start this off. So I have a 5 as my whole number. But then when I add my fractions, I have 6/8 and 7/8. That adds to be 13/8. So now I've got a situation. I've got a fraction larger than 1 inside of a mixed number, right? Because it's 5 and 13/8. So what we have to do is convert this first to be not larger than 1, right? So that fraction, so 13/8 is the same thing as 1 and 5/8, right? Because 8 goes into 13 one time, and then there would be a remainder of 5. So 5 now, it's 5 plus the 1 and 5/8. So this final answer would be 6 and 5/8. Okay? So there's our answer with that one. So then on this last one, it's subtraction of fractions. So this is 5 and 1/6. And when we minus a negative is the same thing as addition. So it's plus 7/9. So here we've got two fractions, a mixed number plus a single fraction, a fraction less than 1. So we'll first get a common denominator. So the denominator, what is the multiple that 6 and 9 go into? And the way I look at it is I usually take the largest one and keep adding to itself to finally get the number that the other number goes into. So 9 plus 9 is 18, right? So it's 9 times 2 is 18. Well, 6 also goes in 18. So that means that would be my least common multiple, in this case, my least common denominator. So I'm going to make it over 18. So I need to change both fractions to have the denominator of 18. So that means multiple this one by 3. So you're going to multiply by a giant one of 3 over 3. So that makes that 3/18. And this one, a giant one of 2 over 2, because 9 times 2 is 18. So 7 times 2 is 14. So now I've got 5, right? 5 and 3/18 plus 14/18. So that becomes 5, because there's only one whole number there. And those two add up to be 17/18. And that fraction is less than 1, so I'm good to go with that answer. All right, there we go.